The Great Alcatraz Escape. Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary, also known as the Rock, was built to be inescapable. Surrounded by freezing waters, treacherous currents, and guarded by some of the toughest prison security of its time, no one was supposed to leave alive. But on the night of June 11, 1962, 3 inmates, Frank Morris and brothers John and Clarence Anglin, did the unthinkable. They vanished from their cells, leaving behind only dummy heads made of papier-mâché to fool the guards during the night. Their daring escape was so elaborate, so genius, that it has captivated the world for over 60 years. But here's the question that haunts us. Did they survive the freezing waters of the San Francisco Bay? Or did they perish, taking their secrets with them? To understand their incredible escape, we need to go back to how they planned, how they executed, and how their story became one of the most infamous mysteries in modern history. Alcatraz wasn't just any prison, it was the prison. Built to hold the most dangerous and escape-prone criminals, it was considered inescapable. Surrounded by 1.25 miles of freezing, turbulent waters and equipped with guards who had a clear line of sight at all times, no one believed anyone could break free. It was home to infamous criminals like Al Capone and George Machine Gun Kelly. And yet, Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers dared to prove everyone wrong. Frank Morris was a career criminal, arrested for everything from armed robbery to drug possession. But he wasn't just another convict. He had an IQ of 133, putting him in the top 2% of the population. Then there were John and Clarence Anglin, 2 brothers who had grown up in Florida swimming in ice-cold water for fun. The plan was bold, ingenious, and almost impossible to believe. Over the course of several months, the trio, and a 4th inmate named Alan West, who would later be left behind, used crude tools to dig through the ventilation grates in their cells. Piece by piece, night after night, they chipped away at the concrete walls, slowly creating escape holes just big enough to crawl through. But they didn't stop there. Behind their cells was a hidden utility corridor that led to the roof of the cell block. The prisoners created a secret workshop in this space, where they built a raft and life vests out of stolen raincoats. Yes, raincoats. Over 50 of them, stitched together using prison glue and sewing needles. And to buy themselves time on the night of the escape, they made fake dummy heads, complete with human hair collected from the prison barbershop, to place in their beds. These heads were so realistic that guards never suspected a thing during their nightly bed checks. Finally, on the night of June 11, 1962, it was time. Crawling through the holes they had painstakingly dug, the men climbed up the pipes, made their way to the roof of the cell block, and then to the prison yard. From there, they scaled a fence and carried their makeshift raft to the shoreline. Under the cover of darkness, they pushed off into the icy waters of the San Francisco Bay, disappearing into the night. Morning came and the guards noticed something strange. The prisoners weren't waking up. When they checked their cells, they found the dummy heads and the shocking truth. Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers were gone. What followed was one of the largest manhunts in U.S. history. The FBI, U.S. Marshals, and Coast Guard scoured the waters and surrounding areas, but no bodies were ever found. Only pieces of their raft were discovered floating near Angel Island, just 2 miles from Alcatraz. The official report concluded that the men likely drowned, swept away by the powerful currents. But was that the whole story? Over the years, new evidence has surfaced, raising questions about whether the escapees may have survived after all. The best explanation is that the escapees didn't survive the journey. The water temperature that night was a frigid 50 degrees Fahrenheit, cold enough to cause hypothermia within minutes. Combined with the strong tides, experts believe it's unlikely they made it to shore. But here's the thing, no bodies were ever recovered, and for many, that's where the doubt begins. Some believe the men made it to Angel Island, just 2 miles from Alcatraz, and then disappeared into the wilderness. In 2018, a shocking discovery seemed to back this up. A photograph taken in Brazil in 1975, which allegedly shows the Anglin brothers alive and well. Experts have debated its authenticity, but if real, it could mean the escapees started new lives far away from Alcatraz. Another theory suggests they had help from someone on the outside. Could a boat have been waiting for them near the island? Or did a guard, bribed or blackmailed, turn a blind eye to their escape? In 2013, the FBI received a letter, allegedly written by one of the Anglin brothers. The letter claimed they had survived the escape and were still alive, but sick and in need of medical attention. The handwriting was analyzed, but the results were inconclusive. Was it a genuine plea for help or an elaborate hoax? To this day, the fate of Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers remains one of the greatest mysteries in American history. Did they drown in the freezing waters of the San Francisco Bay, or did they defy the odds, surviving their daring escape to live out their days in freedom? The FBI officially closed the case in 1979, concluding that the men likely perished. But the U.S. Marshals Service has kept the case open just in case. And now we ask you, what do you think happened on the night of June 11, 1962? Did these men pull off the impossible, or did the waters of the San Francisco Bay claim them? Let us know your theories, because one thing is for sure: the truth is still out there waiting to be uncovered.